Welcome, everybody. It is so fantastic to see you all here, and we are just so grateful to you for coming today to join us in celebrating a truly extraordinary collaboration between the Rhode Island School of Design Interior Architecture program and AARP Rhode Island. AARP's mission is to empower people to choose how they live as they age. And where to live is a critical aspect of that choice. And yet in Rhode Island, our choices are limited. The AARP Long-Term Services and Support Scorecard, which was released last fall, ranked Rhode Island 51st or dead last among the states in the availability of housing for older adults. For people thinking of downsizing, hoping to be near families or caregivers, or wanting to stay in a familiar community as they grow older, ADUs, accessory dwelling units, are a promising, flexible, and affordable housing option. Over half, that's 53% of respondents to AARP's 2023 Vital Voices survey, this was done of just Rhode Islanders 45 and older, said that they would consider creating an ADU if they had the space. A strong majority, 79% of those responding to our survey, support town ordinances that would make it easier to create an ADU. So our cities and towns clearly must have housing options that are suitable for differing incomes, ages, and life stages. ADUs are one way to accomplish that goal. So almost a year ago now, AARP Rhode Island approached the RISD Interior Architecture Department, my good friend Elizabeth Debs, who we'll meet in a little bit, to ask if they would accept the challenge of demonstrating the possibilities of ADUs to the public. They did, and the ADU design competition was born. You'll hear more in a moment from our RISD colleagues about how we work together to structure this exciting collaboration. So we thank the RISD faculty members led by Wolfgang Max Rudorf and Elizabeth Debs, who embraced this project with such generosity and energy. The RISD interior architecture students have earned our amazed admiration for both their creativity and their clear understanding of the housing needs of older adults. Today, you'll have the opportunity, if you haven't already, to see some truly innovative design concepts for accessory dwelling units, or ADUs, to help you visualize how ADUs can help us all choose how we live as we age. The inspiring work by these talented RISD students will help raise awareness of the many ways ADUs can be designed to meet the needs of older Rhode Islanders and our families. We're delighted to display these exciting designs at the State House so that lawmakers and their constituents can see for themselves why ADUs make so much sense. We'll also post them on our website for you. Go to aarp.org/RI so they can continue to inspire. So I'm grateful to have joining us for the speaking program Speaker Shekarchi, Senators Kallman and Gu, Rep. Speakman, RISD Provost Tuba Gadesi, and Professors Rudorf and Debs. Many thanks also to our partners in government who are here. I see OHA Director Maria Samini, I see Rep. Donovan, I see Rep. Shallcross-Smith. Who else am I missing here? Raise your hand, but I'm just so grateful. Thank you so much. Oh, well, on our speaking program, of course, June Speakman. So thank you so much for your incredible support of this amazing project. So now it's my honor to introduce House Speaker Joe Shekarchi, a tireless advocate for ADUs and celebrity judge of the competition, to offer remarks. Mr. Speaker.
Good afternoon. Thank you. It's always great to be here. It's the library. I enjoy it, and it's always great to meet my friends of AARP. I know Catherine recognized some of the elected officials here, but I want to just take a moment and really, I have some prepared remarks we'll get into, but really recognize June Speakman, who has led a tireless effort. And it's not easy, as all of you know. There always is a lot of pushback when you want to make change. But we have a real problem in Rhode Island, and the only way we're going to solve it is to change things around. And June has been there. She has shown fortitude. She has stood tall, and she has done the right thing. And I can't think of anybody better to be the House sponsor of this bill, and I can't think of anybody better in the House to chair the Affordability Committee. So, June, thank you for everything you do and continue to do. I want to acknowledge and recognize certainly Director Catherine Taylor, the AARP director. She's done a phenomenal job, and she's made this her number one, ADUs, her number one legislative priority. I talked about June Speakman, of course, Senator Coleman, Senator Gu, and I want to recognize some other House members who are here, not only to support me in this bill in June, but because they believe in it. They believe in affordable housing. They believe in ADUs, accessory dwelling units, sometimes referred to as granny flats, but in reality, what are they? They're in-law apartments. That's what all they are. It's nothing novel, and there are many, many places in the state that already have them. We're just making the zoning process easier. And I think that that's important to say that, and I want to give a shout out to my colleagues in a minute, but I just want to tell you what ADUs are not, or what this legislation doesn't do, because there's a lot of misconception about it, that somehow we're relaxing the utility requirements. You don't need water. Well, that's not true. You need water in an ADU. We're somehow relaxing the environmental requirements that, or sewer capacity or sewer connections. That's not true. You still have to meet all of those requirements. Matter of fact, all of the legislative accomplishments that we did in the General Assembly last year, none of them changed DEM rules or regulations. None of them changed sewer capacity. None of them changed water capacity. So certainly with ADUs, one of the criticisms, false criticisms, has been that it's somehow going to turn into an Airbnb. Well, if you read the bill, and I know the legislators here who read the bill, it specifically prohibits that. So if someone gives you a pushback on why this is a bad bill, you say what I say always, which is, have you read the bill? Because if you read the bill, a lot of this will be addressed in the bill. And that's really through the hard work of the sponsor, June Speakman. I want to recognize Chairman Abney, who's here, Mary Ann Shellcross-Smith, Representative Deb Falillo, our Deputy Majority Leader, Susan Donovan, Lauren Carson, and of course, and I want to give a special shout out, she's the unsung hero of my housing package, and she's my everything, is Lynn Urbani, who's my policy director. Whether it's healthcare, whether it's education, or whether it's housing, she jumps in. She becomes an instant expert in it. She reaches out to our partners across the country and other states through NCSL and other places, and we bring the best and brightest. And where did the idea of ADU came from? It came from Lynn Urbani, who said, let's look at this and see what's happening. This is being used across the country. I didn't just wake up one day and say, we want to have ADUs in Rhode Island. We looked around, what's working? What's effective? What increases affordable housing? Let seniors stay in their homes. Let college students stay close to home, but yet have their own place. Let's keep the family unit together. Because when you have safe, affordable housing, outcomes across the spectrum are better for people. For elderly people, for young people, for everyday people. So I thank you all. I want to just touch upon these wonderful, wonderful designs done by the students. They're very talented students. We have an age waiver in Rhode Island. 1 in 4 people will be 65 and older in the next several years. Baby boomers are aging and retiring. As the Rhode Island population ages, we need to be sure that we support them to stay in place for our seniors, so they can age gracefully and remain in their homes and live independently. I don't know of anybody who wants to go into assisted living. I don't know anybody who wants to go into a nursing home. Some people have to go for reasons, and I understand that, including my dad, who had to go for a brief time, but is home now. It's not easy. He's 97 years old. So I live it and I feel it. ADUs let seniors live at home with family members and others nearby, while maintaining their independence and privacy. And it's not only seniors who can benefit from ADUs. Recent college graduates, individuals with disabilities can benefit from them as well. Last year, the House passed legislation making it easier for homeowners to add an ADU to their home. Unfortunately, it did not pass the Senate, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that we can work together this year to get it over the finish line. This legislation is a call to action. It's a call to action for everybody who wants affordable, sustainable housing in Rhode Island. As everyone knows, Rhode Island has a severe housing shortage. and ADUs are a great way to add more housing stock to our supply without changing the character of any neighborhood. I personally want to thank AARP for their advocacy on this issue. And of course, the RISD professors, the staff, and students who participate in this competition. When I first saw the design several months ago, I was incredibly impressed. And I had to stop for a minute, because in my private practice, I work with a lot of architects. And what I saw was first-class quality work, just as it was a seasoned architect. And that's a credit to RISD and the students who put the time and effort in. This competition was a great way to leverage some of the most incredible talent that we have in Rhode Island to create solutions to our state's biggest challenge, our housing crisis. The competition also raises the dialogue. It gets people talking and thinking about ADUs and how we can add them to our community and how they can be function and creatively done. Thank you, AARP. Thank you, RISD, for partnering on this initiative, which really showcased in Rhode Island that not one size fits all. It's a wonderful model. I thank you all, and we will continue to fight. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Now it is my pleasure to bring up to the podium Senator Megan Kallman, also a stalwart proponent of ADUs, author of Senate legislation that passed, that we have on the books right now, and another one of our celebrity judges.
I feel like this is the first last time I get to call myself a celebrity. Could I see a show of hands of everybody who had a hand in creating these ADU designs? I see a bunch over here. Let's have a round of applause for these guys. Thanks for being here, and thank you for putting your efforts and vision towards really creatively modeling what this kind of thing can look like. My mother announced to me a couple of days ago after a health scare that she intended to move in with me when she was no longer able to take care of herself. So all of a sudden, this issue of proximate housing has a little more urgency in my life than it did, shall we say, a couple of months ago. At the same time, I read a statistic last week that isolation, particularly when one is a senior, is as damaging to your health as smoking one pack of cigarettes per week, which just knocked me flat, right? So there's a number of reasons why we all care about this issue, but boy, I didn't realize it was that serious. So thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, all of my colleagues, Senator Gu, who you'll hear from in a minute, Representative Speakman, a good friend of mine, and the many other folks in both chambers who have been real champions for housing solutions. Obviously, we've taken important strides forward. Obviously, we have further to go. AARP Rhode Island has been an incredible advocate on this, and working together with partners, as everyone who's passed legislation will tell you, is key to this success. I saw these designs right as I came into town after having been gone on business for 2 weeks, and it was just like such a delightful way to get back into the policy world. These are the kinds of creative qualities that we need to embrace as we think about solving our housing crisis, right? Housing can be functional and affordable and safe and also beautiful. Fun fact, I have an undergraduate degree in art, in painting, and so beauty really speaks to me in ways that sometimes I think we don't give quite enough airtime to in policy spaces. ADUs help meet people where they are. It allows for innovative solutions to the housing shortage, but also to questions, as has been alluded to already, of aging in place, of trying to launch your career right after college or high school or training or whatever it is. And as we work to foster new housing development, we know that our friends and our neighbors can't wait. And so these can be game changers. So without further ado, I'm looking forward to working with all of you to get this important legislation across the finish line. And I'm honored to introduce my colleague and another housing champion, Senator Victoria Gu.
Thank you, Senator, and thank you everyone for being here. Friends, I think we all know someone, a grandmother, grandfather, someone in our neighborhood who has had mobility issues that come with age. They would replace their stairs, their entrance with a ramp. Their two-story house isn't working for them anymore. And last month, I talked to a constituent in this situation. in our area with a years-long waiting list for senior housing, she said, even if I sell my house, I don't really know where I would go. For her and many others, ADUs are an example of a key housing and aging in place solution. Now, ADUs have been around for a while. They're mostly invisible in our neighborhoods today, flying under the radar as basement ADUs, attic ADUs, ADUs above a garage. These commonly still have stairs, and for this constituent of mine, stairs are a big issue. That's why for many states that have enabled ADUs, the backyard cottage, the standalone structure is the most popular, and you'll see some of those in these designs. It can be built to be fully accessible and have the bedroom on the ground level. My constituent could build one, perhaps move into it, move her children into the main house, or rent out to supplement her retirement income. And with updates to federal financing and housing policy, financing an ADU is more accessible now than ever. The important thing is that we give her options, that she can stay in her community, in her house or ADU, and make sure that her housing situation works for her rather than against her. Second, I want to talk about renters too. I was going to quote another person in my district, but he's actually here today. Executive Director of the Warm Center in Westerly, Russ Partridge. We had a housing forum last year, and he said that in 40 years, they've never seen what we're seeing today in the housing crisis. I hope you don't mind me quoting you. People coming into the system, homeless for the first time, typically over the age of 65. And I can't really imagine being 65, 70, and being uprooted like that. These are all people who did it right. So people who have been renting for a long time, paid their rent on time, paid their bills on time, worked for many years, thought they had security in retirement. But the pandemic changed a lot in my area, which is South County, a lot of people moving in. I was astonished to see how much rent had risen in just a few years during the pandemic. So ADUs are a key component of housing supply. And if you look across the country, ADUs are going to get people housed in the short term because they're faster to construct or renovate compared to new construction. And we need that solution here now more than ever. So thank you, AARP, for your advocacy, the housing organizations who've also put a lot of work into this, colleagues Rep. Speakman, Sarah Coleman, and really the design students who came in and shown what these can be. And encourage everyone to take a closer look afterwards. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Senator Goon, for all the work you're doing this year to move the ADU legislation through the Senate. We're just really proud to be working with you as well. And I just wanted to recognize I saw Rep. Diaz and Chairman Casey come in, so thank you so much for being here. I know many of us will be leaving directly after this to go appear before Chairman Casey. I look forward to that. Now it's my pleasure to call up Chairwoman Speakman to the podium and to say the first time we encountered each other on this issue was 2 years ago, when you, as chair of the Low and Moderate Income Housing Commission, when you invited me to give a presentation on ADUs as a solution. And we're just so grateful for how you've just taken it and run with it. And hopefully this is the year. So please come up and accept all of our thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Catherine. This is an easy idea to run with. I think everyone in the room is in support. If I look around, I've heard from constituents, as have my colleagues in politics. Oh, sorry, which one? This one? Is that better? Okay. So I won't extol the virtues of ADUs. You've heard that from the folks who have already spoken, and you know them well. What I will do is thank the students. I teach at Roger Williams in my other job, and architects often tell me that form follows function. We told you what the function was, and you have given us beautiful form, and I thank you for that. It helps us make the case for the ADUs. For those who are unfamiliar with the form, they can take a look at your work, and they can see how these fit beautifully into neighborhoods, into yards, and have all kinds of features. As Senator Gu said, they help folks who have mobility issues. They're beautiful. I urge you all, the AARP has a video on their website about a mother and a daughter whose housing issues were resolved by an ADU that the daughter built in the backyard. I cried a little bit. Thanks, Catherine. I cried a little bit when I read it. It's absolutely gorgeous. I have some thank yous to say as well. As you may know, I chair the Commission on Housing Affordability, which is the brain trust, except for me. All the other folks there are the brain trust for housing policy in the state of Rhode Island. I am deeply grateful to all the members of the Commission, many of whom are here, who have helped us think through this idea and get where we are now. And also thanks to Lynn Urbani, who is the brain trust of the brain trust, and her staff in the policy office. Thanks to AARP, they have been persistent and dogged in pursuing this idea legislatively, and are on the floor all the time talking to our colleagues, which is really great and necessary when it comes time to vote. Postcards were distributed on Tuesday for some of us, like myself. The print was a little small, but that's okay. They were beautiful to look at. I also want to thank my colleague Elizabeth Debs. I've been working with Elizabeth for a very long time on housing in Rhode Island, and thank you for connecting me with this project, connecting us with this project too. I really appreciate it. One last thing, Matt, who works for AARP, reminded us that Fonzie from Happy Days lived in an ADU. And for me, of course he did, and of course why not? This is an easy solution. It's not the only solution, but it is an easy solution to our housing crisis. And I thank you all for your support, and continue to let your elected officials know that this is an idea whose time has come, and let's get it done. Thanks, Catherine. What's that? Oh, sorry. So we have prizes. So, have we announced the? Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, we don't want to give out the prize before the grand announcement, right? Okay. I can come back. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you, Rep. Speakman. So when I was at a national, in our national office and our headquarters in Washington in November, I got on the day of the design competition of the judging. I had to get on a plane to go to meetings there, and I was sharing with my colleagues from across the country about our partnership, our collaboration with the Rhode Island School of Design for an ADU design competition, and everyone's eyes just got so huge. I said, how did you ever score a collaboration with the Rhode Island School of Design? Don't you know that it's the most preeminent design school in the nation? I'm like, yes, we do know that, and we're very, very grateful. And we are so happy to be able to call to the podium RISD's provost. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Tuva Gadesi, and to celebrate this amazing collaboration. And thank you for being leader of an institution that will share such incredible talent with the needs of the older people in our state.
Thank you, Catherine. That was a very generous remark, and I earn none of the praises. It's the amazing people at RISD who do all the work. I'm just delighted to be a part of it. So good afternoon, everyone. The collaboration between RISD and AARP of Rhode Island has been an incredibly powerful opportunity for students to understand directly how their work can address critical issues such as housing for Rhode Island's aging population. Devised through a strong professional practice, these students have conceived a plurality of sensitive and caring designs that center around the well-being of future occupants while attentively considering their specific social needs and economic situations. It is my great privilege to be RISD's Chief Academic Officer. Every day, I am reminded of this privilege as I marvel at RISD's unique collaborative educational model. one that upholds interdisciplinarity by amplifying the cross-pollination of varied, deep disciplinary expertise to generate cutting-edge ideas and instigate meaningful action. These actions give us purpose, and at RISD, we recognize how crucial the intersection between public policy, economic development, and education is. The projects we're seeing today serve as paradigms for how art and design can frame policy and provide solutions to complex issues, and how community organizations, government entities, and RISD can collaborate in effective and substantial manners. We embrace our role as a place-based institution and as a neighbor. If you're interested in partnering with us, I encourage you to reach out to RISD Center for Community Partnerships. The center's executive director is hiding somewhere here, Bethany Costello, all the way in the back. She's here today, and I thank her for her dedicated work to bring us all together in such important ways. Today, please take a few minutes to speak with our students about their innovative ideas. Ask questions, inquire about their process. I am certain that all of you will leave inspired by how thoughtful these proposals are, and excited by the potential that creativity and design have to solve pressing problems. Before I pass the mic back, allow me to thank Professor Elizabeth Debs and Department Head Wolfgang Rudorf, and of course the interior architecture students, all of whom have worked tirelessly to think about ADUs in new ways. And thank you, all of you, for bringing RISD into this important conversation. I look forward to many more opportunities, collaboration, advocacy, and engagement together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Provost Gadesi. We're so grateful to have you here. And before we move on to really telling you about the project, I want to thank the AARP Rhode Island team, Matt Netto, our Associate State Director for Advocacy, who's the boots on the ground trying to get this bill passed, John Martin, who is here who's been telling the story of this competition so beautifully. If you go to aarp.org/RI, you can see more of his work. And our amazing volunteers, you'll see some of our red shirts are here, who've been advocating every Tuesday at the State House. But one volunteer in particular, Mary Ann Kelly, who's one of our those great advocates here, also lives in an ADU, and she's going to share her experience of why her life is made so wonderful because of that. Come on up, Mary Ann.
Thank you. As Catherine said, my name is Mary Ann Kelly, and I'm a volunteer with AARP Rhode Island and a person who lives in an accessory dwelling unit, an ADU. It is a pleasure to be part of the Rhode Island School of Design 2023 INTAR Department Charette Award ceremony today as we recognize the incredible talent in this room. Prior to volunteering for AARP 2.5 years ago, I had not heard the term ADU or accessory dwelling unit. I did not call my living space, situated in my daughter and son-in-law's house, an ADU. But as legislative advocacy volunteer with AARP, I became so much better educated on the importance of seeking creative solutions to the ever-increasing housing shortage that is disproportionately affecting older people. Utilizing existing space to create alternate solutions just makes sense. The more I thought about it, the more I realized I had lived in a few ADUs. And I'd like to share a few of them with you. The first one, as a divorced mom with 2 young children, I was looking to move into a quiet and safe neighborhood with good schools. I heard that an apartment might be available in a lovely neighborhood where the owner had converted his very large home to include an apartment to rent on the second half of the second floor. And the garage was turned into an apartment for his father, or Pop, as the kids came to affectionately call him. The homeowner was able to care for his for his aging parent who had recently been widowed and used a walker or a wheelchair. A chairlift was installed that took Pop down to a ramp to the garage that led to the driveway so that he could come and go safely. There was a real sense of community. We all checked on Pop, especially after his chairlift broke halfway down one day and he was stuck for a few hours. Nothing horrible, but after that, the kids would always peek up the stairs from the outside window to make sure that he was okay. Pop lived alone, but he wasn't alone. Not only was the homeowner able to care for his father by transforming the existing space to accommodate the ever-increasing needs of his aging parent, but he was also able to make some extra income on my tenancy, all without changing the outside of the dwelling. 8 years ago, my daughter and son-in-law, now with baby in tow, decided it was time to buy a larger house and decided that they wanted me to move in with them. They were interested in multi-generational living. They looked at houses with apartment situations or enough land to build a granny pod or a tiny home. The details were worked out, and today I couldn't imagine a better living situation, with the added bonus of 2 grandchildren now a door away. Today's winning design reminds us of the transformative powers of design and the meaningful impact it can have on our families and in our communities. Congratulations to Team 7 and all the students who participated. I don't think I'm alone in anticipating greatness from you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Marianne. And what a powerful story for, how we all could be happy as we grow older with our families if we could just have ADUs. Now, just to wrap everything up, I'd like to bring the Interior Architecture Department head, Wolfgang Rudolph, and Elizabeth Debs on the faculty at the entire program to tell you all about how this all came together, and then when you want to announce the winner, then Rep. Speakman can come back up. Okay, great.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, Provost Gadesi. As representatives of INTAR, acronym for Department of Interior Architecture at the Rhode Island School of Design, Elizabeth Debs and I are honored to present to you in this magnificent library of the Rhode Island State House the creative ideas and concepts developed for the ADU initiative by INTAR's wonderful students. The work exhibited here this afternoon are the result of a design charrette, a very intensive weekend event in which 10 design teams competed. Many of the team leaders and participants in the design charrette are present here this afternoon and would be delighted to engage with you in a conversation describing their ideas in greater detail. So please join them after the official program in front of their banners for a design review discussion. INTAR's pedagogical focus on adaptive reuse is defined as the reimagination and transformation of an existing built environment through thoughtful interventions with the objective to create a healthier, more sustainable social and urban fabric. It is this very unique emphasis that allows INTAR students to be constructive, creative, and effective design partners in a project like the Accessory Dwelling Unit Initiative. We would like to express our gratitude for this amazing collaboration with AARP Rhode Island, allowing our students to participate in a project greatly recognized beyond the academic realm of RISD, and for the great interest by representatives of the Rhode Island legislature and the sponsors of the ADU bill in the work of our students. Before I turn the mic over to my colleague Elizabeth, who deserves all the credit for initiating the fall semester 2023 Design Charrette, for arriving at today's event and for conceiving together with Catherine Taylor this amazing opportunity for INTAR's student community to become visionaries for the ADU bill and participants in a legislative process. I would like to express our gratitude for the support we received from the RISD community by recognizing Bethany Costello, Director of the Center for Community Partnerships at RISD, and her team, who helped to plan and coordinate the event. INTAR's academic specialists, Karen Bell and Katie Rogers, who put enormous effort into the organization and logistics of the charrette and today's event. I would like to thank Simone Solans, RISD Media and her team. Special recognition needs to go to Farnas Dastrani, MDes student at INTAR, who designed with amazing creativity the poster, invitations, and the template for the banners. Holden Rappoon, junior at INTAR, who offered his great model building skills and created on behalf of all 10 teams the model base. And I would like to thank the team leaders to coordinate the revision, narratives, logos, and overall banner design. Thank you all. And now it is my honor to
Pass it on to me.
pass it on to Elizabeth.
Great.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Wolfgang, and thank you to all the many, many, many others who made this project possible. It was a rich collaboration with so many moving parts. In INTAR alone, there were over 120 students, faculty, and staff that were involved in this project. And I want to point out that neither credits nor grades were awarded for this work, and that the students were really motivated by a passion for the idea of working on an ADU concept. They come from all over the world. I think you've heard about how magnificent they are, but I'd like to reiterate that. But really, an important part of the diversity in our department is that we are all enriched by ideas that come from far-flung places, and we really appreciate that. So I think some of you know that I've been involved in housing for a while, and I realize that it comes not solely from policy, not solely from economic drivers, or from design, but it requires consideration of many, many factors concurrently, which is a wonderful thing. And that's part of the reason why we were so delighted to be invited in by AARP to use our design expertise to explore the possibilities for ADUs. And now I get to talk specifically about the design considerations. We gave the students specific criteria that are pertinent to ADU design in general, so keep that in mind as you look at the different proposals. This guided their design works and allowed them to develop their thoughts pretty fully. One overarching consideration that really resonated with the students is the concept of universal design, which is a wonderful evolution of the American with Disabilities Act that promotes excellent human-centered design for people of all abilities and is highly functional yet non-stigmatizing. I'm proud to say that a previous interior architecture department head, Jane Langmuir, was an early innovator in this field with her Universal Kitchen project, with Mark Harrison, also from RISD Industrial Design, and that premiered in 1998. We are so proud to be part of that long legacy. And now on to the project. The students were asked to design a freestanding unit on 13,000 square feet lot of a fairly typical 1950s ranch house in Providence. The ADU size could vary from a minimum of 350 feet to 900 square feet. To give you some perspective on scale, the primary house is 2,500 square feet, so many, many times the size of the structure. Compact design is essential in this endeavor, and we have to work with millimeters from either going from the larger kitchen elements to even the placement of the door handle. When you're in such a tight space, every inch matters. And this is a challenge that people in interior architecture love. So thank you for a juicy design challenge. The
The other criterion that were a bit larger were siting, of course. The ADU has to be considerate in how it relates to the house itself and also to the neighbors. We learned a lot about flexibility, that there needs to be to accommodate a range of households, lifestyles, and also the possibility for change over time. You don't build it once and then assume that it's going to work forever. Cost considerations are huge. We ask them to look at the initial cost of construction, but also on the long-term operating costs, which make a huge difference in the lives of people and fixed incomes. Sustainability. Always, always in the top of mind for our students. Looking at the long-term environmental impacts, looking at reducing the use of resources that are limited and diminishing quickly. And then finally, to look at construction innovation. You'll see a lot of examples of modular design, panelized design, off-site construction that really has a lot of benefits in terms of resource conservation and also cost and timing. So there were 3 winners, and we'll learn about that shortly, but each proposal has elements that benefit the whole movement of ADU design or a considered strategic approach. And the benefit of this multi-team process is that we get so many, many different perspectives and can pick out pieces or ideas from each one of them. So again, we want to thank you for inviting us into the conversation. Thank you, Catherine and June especially. And we hope that this work is useful in prompting discussion and can forward the development of ADUs for our aging populations and hopefully to ease a little bit of the housing crunch that is so desperately prominent right now. So thank you all. And now I will turn it to Catherine and Representative Speakman, I believe.
And just a couple more acknowledgements, too. I see Senator Zurio came in. I think Senator Basalan was here, Senator Mack. Thank you so much for members of the Senate for coming in. If I missed anybody, my sincere apologies. Rep. Speakman, do you want to come up? We would love to announce or just recognize the winner, which I think Marianne alluded to, right? Yeah, Team 7, which is the only roof you can take off and look inside at the, the floor plan, which is so cool. So I encourage you to interact with the exhibits here. Rep. Speakman has citations for you, so please come on up. I'll switch places with you here.
So can the team leaders for Team 7, wherever you are, come on up? Or someone from Team 7? Excellent. Congratulations. So this is a thing we do in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. So be it hereby known to all that the Rhode Island House of Representatives hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to the team, and you each get one of these to do with what you will, being honored at ADU Day at the Rhode Island State House on January 25th, 2024 for being a member of the winning team in the ADU design competition sponsored by the AARP Rhode Island. There's some honorific text, and it's signed by Speaker Shekarchi, whom you met earlier, Leader Blazejewski, and Minority Leader Mike Chippendale. So congratulations to you, and thank you very much for contributing to the conversation. Yeah, sure, here. How about a photo, right? This is what we do. Okay. Is it upside down? Excellent. All right. Thank you. I don't know who took it. Thank you very much. And these are all here for you on the way out. Okay? There's one for everybody in the team. Thank you, Catherine. All right.
So, thank you so much to everybody. That concludes our speaking program. I just want to thank everyone involved, but most of all, the students. They all just did incredible work here, and every single one was an inspiration. Really hard as a judge to go around and figure out which ones to vote for. So one last hand for all the students who are here. So just to conclude, aging in community is possible if homes can be modified to accommodate changing needs. So we have to reframe how we think about housing as we grow older, and ADUs are a part of the equation, an important part. So many thanks again to the RISD Interior Architecture Department and the talented student teams for helping us reframe how we think about ADUs. Thank you all for taking the time to come and celebrate with us today. We encourage you to stick around, have some more refreshments, interact with the students, be inspired. And if you stay around a little bit later, you can join us at the House Committee on Municipal Affairs, where Rep. Speakman's ADU bill is going to be heard, and several of us will be testifying in favor. Thank you very much.